Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, the National Trade Union Center, NATOC, has issued a stern warning against the government's proposed plan to seek parliamentary approval for a further 3-month extension of the current state of emergency. Queen Kamala trying her best to transform our nation into a police state, which, as I keep saying over and over again, and even Gary Griffith is now saying it. I'm not saying that he ever watched my videos, but it just shows how incompetent the TTPS is. It just shows that the TTPS cannot perform their duties without suspending the constitutional rights of the citizens. Constitutional rights of privacy in their homes. Police officers shouldn't be invading your home, my dear people, without a warrant. Police officers should not be detaining any suspect without sufficient evidence in order to charge them. You see what I'm talking about here? They are abusing their power, and they are abusing the SOE as well. That was never the reason for, that was never the purpose for having an SOE. A state of emergency, my dear people, is supposed to only be used in case of an emergency, something that is temporary. So, of course, if there's a natural disaster and there's widespread devastation, destruction throughout the country, you have a state of emergency, because what takes place a lot of the times, you'll end up having looting and stuff. And then, of course, if it has an insurrection, if there's an insurrection like what took place, or an attempted insurrection like what took place in 1990, you have an SOE. You declare an SOE. It's for temporary, it's for a short space of time. You don't govern a nation for more than a year and want to extend it even more using an SOE and talk about because it is to fight crime. That is unconstitutional, what is taking place. I hope that the trade unions and the PNM, even though I don't support the PNM, we have to use them at this point in time, take legal action against this government. The Labour Umbrella Organization statement follows a declaration from the Office of the Attorney General outlining intentions to prolong emergency measures. The existing SOE is legally mandated to expire at midnight on June 17, 2026. While acknowledging the administration's primary obligation to safeguard public security, NATOC contended that prolonged interventions threaten to dismantle essential civil liberties, exactly our rights to be able to protest. Protest for any reason, protest against the government itself, protest against the TTPS or any other state institution, the health sector, the failed health sector. The union body emphasized that emergency rule must not become a permanent fixture of national governance or be used to systematically curtail public speech and legislative transparency. I'm telling you, the unions realize now this is not just about criminals. This is about targeting anyone that opposes the government. Queen Kamala made it clear, yeah, you can protest it, or just don't come anywhere near my precious government agencies, my government offices. You see what is taking place, people? This is not about just about crime. As a matter of fact, I don't believe this has anything to do with crime anymore, because they know very well that using an SOE cannot actually stop crime. It can probably reduce it to an extent, but it cannot actually stop crime, because you still have an incompetent and corrupt TTPS that are conducting all the investigations. And that's the thing about it. The detection rate still remains low under the SOE. If it was really a professional, legitimate Trinidad and Tobago police that we had, a whole lot more success would have taken place under this SOE. So emergency rule must never become normalized, the NATOC release stated. What is presented as temporary must not be allowed to evolve into a standing feature of governance. A nation cannot claim to defend law and order while silencing the lawful voices of its people. My response is time to take legal action against Queen Kamala's administration and her PNM inner circle cabinet members, and that's the reality, people. John Jeremy is a former PNM. Roger Alexander may not be an official PNM. He probably never was a member of the PNM, but he never showed as though he supported the UNC in the past. Never one day I ever saw him saying anything to show any support to the UNC. Matter of fact, he didn't even like when the UNC supporters used to be protesting against Emperor Thanos Rowley. And now we know, we are seeing who are the ones actually influencing Kamala even more than before. Because it's the same Roger Alexander that didn't like protests when Rowley was in office, is the one now who has a problem with protests under the government that he is part of. But Kamala herself has appeared to become radical herself, radicalized herself. This was not the woman, I'm telling you, this is not the same woman who governed our nation back in 2010 to 2015. And definitely when she was part of Pandey's administration, this woman has gone rogue. And this is why, yet again, I will say it over and over again, it's time. It's time. Whoever becomes the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago in 2030, hopefully a person from a new party, a fresh party. You put term limits, number one, for being a Prime Minister, and number two, age limit. 60 for the maximum, so that when they leave office, it's 65. Maximum. Because when people begin to get older and they have this amount of power, a lot of the times they abuse it because they don't want to let go of it, and they're seeing that they're getting old and time is running out. So they become more and more obsessed with power. Efforts to promote environmental responsibility and reduce waste were highlighted during a community cleanup and recycling initiative aimed at encouraging greater public awareness about sustainability. Participants gathered despite rainy conditions to support activities focused on reducing litter, promoting recycling, and educating the public about the impact of improper waste disposal on communities and environment. Especially, it causes a lot of flooding. The activity was a collaboration between Save the Earth from A to Z, a university student volunteer group, and the World Mission Society Church at Pazia, St. Augustine. Lecturer at the School of Education at the University of the West Indies, Vishal Ramjatan, joined the initiative and praised the efforts of the young organizers, saying collective action can help drive positive environmental change. Dr. Ramjatan noted that while laws and fines exist to address littering, especially the UNC love to use that, and illegal dumping, greater awareness, community involvement, and enforcement are needed to reduce waste and protect the environment.
Still produce a lot of waste, and unfortunately that waste ends up in places where it should not be, and we see the effects of that in terms of flooding, in terms of garbage being strewn all over the place, and we need to address these things. Now, we always ask ourselves, what can we do as individuals? But when we come together collectively and promote positive initiatives such as this, where we try to clean up a space, increase awareness of the things that we do, it has a domino effect and a lasting impression.
Dr. Ramjatan noted that while laws and fines exist to address littering and illegal dumping, greater awareness, community involvement and enforcement are needed to reduce waste and protect the environment. He also encouraged individuals, schools and communities to reduce their use of single-use plastics, embrace recycling and adopt more sustainable practices in their daily lives. For participants, the initiative served as an opportunity to promote environmental stewardship and encourage others to play a role in keeping communities clean.
Trinidad and Tobago official weather report for Tuesday, June 9, 2026. Trinidad and Tobago will experience generally sunny, hazy, and breezy conditions giving way to partly cloudy spells and localized showers. The maximum daytime temperature is expected to reach 33 degrees Celsius in Piarco, Trinidad, and 32 degrees Celsius in Crown Point, Tobago. Overnight low temperatures will drop to 25 degrees Celsius in Trinidad and 26 degrees Celsius in Tobago. Morning conditions will be mostly clear to sunny, hazy, and breezy with high UV indexes peaking around midday. Cloud cover will increase slightly by afternoon, bringing a 30% to 40% chance of showers across a few areas. Nighttime will be generally settled, though occasional lingering showers and light rain will continue into the overnight hours over select areas. Seas will remain moderate in open waters. Wave heights will reach up to 2.0 meters in open waters and under 1.0 meter in sheltered areas. Steady winds will blow from the east to northeast between 10 to 15 miles per hour with potentially higher gusty patches near sudden afternoon showers. A noticeable concentration of Saharan dust remains present in the atmosphere. Individuals with asthma, respiratory illnesses, or sensitivities to air quality changes should take standard medical precautions.
Regional news now. 22 teachers and students from 4 special education needs and disability schools came together at the David Rose Special School to take part in a mini chess tournament hosted by the Guyana Chess Federation. Positive news. In collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Special Education Needs and Disability Department. While the tournament celebrated competition and camaraderie, it also highlighted the transformation role chess can play in the lives of students with special educational needs and disabilities. It's not just the normal people, those with special needs. Emerging as the best student was Micah Kortman of Diamond Special Needs and Disabilities School, whose achievement reflected the determination and talent fostered through initiatives such as these. Educators have increasingly embraced chess as an innovative teaching resource. Adaptations, including the use of larger boards and alternative methods of communicating moves, ensure that students with varying needs can participate meaningfully. Wow. And I saw they will still be able to defeat somebody like me who can't play that good at all. Within the SEN community, the impact can be profound, with educators sharing powerful stories of students discovering new ways to express themselves, connect with others, and believe in their own capabilities. Growing frustration over the protracted delay in carrying out infrastructure repairs at Godfrey Stewart High School in Savannah, Lamar, Westmoreland, Jamaica, boiled over last week as parents, school administrators, and stakeholders staged a protest, calling for the resumption of work on damaged buildings. You see, that's what showing you. Citizens have a lot of reasons why they need to protest at times, and you can't tell them to go in some back alley somewhere to protest. They need to do it near government offices so that their voices can be heard, Queen Kamala. The concern center on repair and reconstruction works being led by the National Education Trust following damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. Jamaica continues to struggle to recover. And Your Holiness, I'm telling you, you need to up your game. You need to do a whole lot better. I prefer you than the other party. You appear to be a genuine conservative to an extent. But you need to do better. You need to do much better than what you're doing at this point in time. The 3rd annual Restaurant Week will take place from June 21st to the 22nd, with the official opening set for Paradise Beach Hotel. Organized by the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority, the event will feature culinary competitions, bartender training, chef knife skills sessions, and a street safari experience. Sounds wonderful. Sounds interesting. Something I would like to go and see for myself one of these blessed days. You see, like how they have it was Sailing Week. I think it was a fisherman thing recently. Now this one. But remember, those smaller islands depend on tourism, and all this will draw a lot of people to come to their island, including myself one of these good days. SVGTA President Isola Giddings said this year's focus will be on sea-to-table cuisine, while continuing to showcase local produce. More than 40 restaurants have already registered to participate. Giddings also announced that one participant will earn the opportunity to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines at a regional culinary event.
Instead farm to table, yes, but we are promoting sea to plate.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people are into fish and more seafood. And again, Mr. Thomas from Driftwood, that will be held at Driftwood. And we are going to be working along and promoting healthy seafood dishes. This time, over 40 restaurants have registered for the entire week for Restaurant Week. So we have over 40 restaurants there, and I'm quite sure we will get more by the time we reach June 21st. For the street safari, we have 19, and that will increase. You're going to have the team from the ITIL group. They're going to be there. We're going to be having persons who will be doing dumplings. You're going to have your pigtails. You're going to have your sweet corn. You're going to have your bam bam. So you're getting all the local foods, roast bread fruit, you come on out, you're going to get it there on that day. It is a tourism event. So it is not a SVGHTA. It's a tourism event for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that's the message I would like to send to persons, to be involved, get involved, know our product, be a part of our product, and let us promote St. Vincent and the Grenadines even more. I'm just going to give you a little peek of it. We, this year, will be taking a team to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a culinary and bartending competition. So we will be sending out information on that very shortly, where persons will need to register. We will have a competition. We will choose the winners. Then we will train in order to be competitive in that area. We have a lot of young, talented chefs and bartenders, mixologists in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We cannot take them for granted. We are now looking to elevate even more and bring them to the forefront.
International news now. The Secret Service established a massive security lockdown around Madison Square Garden ahead of President Trump's arrival for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Federal agents teamed up with the NYPD to close down streets from West 30th to West 35th, a streets between 6th and 8th Avenues. Fans heading to the game between the Knicks and Spurs faced long delays at security checkpoints and had to pass through airport-style metal detectors. The team forced fans to arrive at least 2 hours early and banned all bags from entering the arena. You can't blame them after the amount of attempts on Trump's life. The heavy security also forced the cancellation of the usual outdoor watch parties right next to the stadium, moving fans to a backup viewing area at Bryant Park instead. Yes, but I mean, come on, the President of the United States was there, and especially because of the amount of attempts that was made against his life. They had to do that. Yesterday, the U.S. CENTCOM announced that the U.S. Navy disabled an Iranian-affiliated vessel in the Sea of Oman, confirming an earlier UK MTO report. An F-18 fired a missile into the engine room of the MT Marivex, stopping it in its path. Now, of course, that is to prevent the vessel from reaching into Iran in order to be able to probably end up getting oil from there, because remember, Iran is running out of space in order to be able to store their oil due to the blockade. A blockade that Trump continues to use, believing that he could place enough pressure on the Ayatollah and the IRGC to give up their ambitions for nuclear weapons. That is never going to happen. They're going to lie and continue to tell you that yes, let's have negotiations, let's have discussions. Now there's an agreement to have an agreement. That's where it reached recently. They have an agreement to have a discussion to have an agreement. And they just continue to play with Trump. Just play with Trump, because all they are doing is actually playing for time. I keep saying this over and over again. They are hoping that the Democrats win both houses in November, and therefore most likely Trump will be impeached. And even if that does not take place, they're definitely playing for the long game as well and waiting for 2028 when Trump's term in office ends, and they're hoping that the Democrats will definitely win and the Democrats will give them everything they want. The Democrats wouldn't even use a blockade or try to put any sort of pressure on Iran. They will say, you know what, you live your life and enjoy yourself, and if Israel has to fight, let them fight on their own. Meanwhile, Trump continues to try to play king over Israel, but thankfully, the modern-day Jehu from the Bible, the modern-day Jehu Benjamin Netanyahu made it clear to Trump, listen, no. I will compromise with you to an extent, but once we are attacked here in Israel, we are going to defend ourselves. IRGC Quds Force Commander Esmail Kani announced that a new resistance security belt will be established to span from the Strait of Hormuz to the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. Telling you, they're just playing games with Trump, you know, while they continue to try to take control of that entire passageway, and force people to pay them a lot of money in order to be able to generate revenue. Bullies, thieves, that's what they are. Terrorists, that's what they are. And Trump continues to try to make agreements with them. In an official statement, in an official social media statement on Monday, June 8, 2026, Carney detailed that this maritime framework connects the Persian Gulf to the Red Sea. He explicitly stated that the network involves coordinated action from the United Resistance Front, praising recent military operations by Yemen's Houthis forces. Carney added that these forces are positioned near strategic maritime checkpoints and warned that any further military action by the United States or Israel in that region will trigger a direct response. You see, that's what I showed them, because they know that Trump is obsessed with this peace deal. And therefore, what they're trying to do at this point in time is to make threats so that Trump could put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel to end their war with Hezbollah and the Houthis. And these terrorist groups continue to always attack Israel. And now they're trying to convince Trump, the Iranians are trying to convince Trump to tell Israel, you know what? No, just defend yourself, but do not retaliate. Evil. Trump has the spirit of the Antichrist upon him. Do I know that he's the Antichrist? No, I don't know that. But he definitely has the spirit of the Antichrist upon him.
Matthew 6:19-21. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.